Let's talk about money, because if you're thinking about living in Connecticut in 2026, the cost of living is probably the first thing on your mind. You've probably heard that Connecticut is expensive, and while that's not completely wrong, it's also not the full story. I work with people relocating here all the time, especially to Central Connecticut, and what surprises them most isn't just how much things cost, it's where the money actually goes. So let's break down the real cost of living in Connecticut, clearly, honestly, and without any drama. Housing is the biggest expense for most people moving to Connecticut, so let's start there. In Central Connecticut, towns like Wethersfield, Newington, Berlin, Rocky Hill, average home prices in 2025 generally fell in the mid-300s to low 400s, depending on the town, the condition of the home, and the school district. You can still find homes below that range, especially in cities like New Britain or Hartford, but the most competitive move-in-ready homes in desirable neighborhoods usually sell for more. For many buyers coming from New York and New Jersey, the biggest surprise is that they are often getting more space, more quiet neighborhoods, and a better overall lifestyle for money that feels familiar to them. Connecticut isn't cheap, but it's very value-driven. Locations, schools, and town services matter a lot here, and they directly affect home prices. Now, let's talk about the numbers that surprises people the most: property taxes. Connecticut has some of the highest property taxes in the country, and in Central Connecticut, effective tax rates can feel like they're in the 2.5% to 4% range, depending on the town. What does that actually mean in real life? On a home priced around $350,000, annual property tax can easily range from $6,000 to $9,000 per year, sometimes even more. This is where people get caught off guard, especially if they're coming from states with much lower property taxes. But here's the context that matters. Property taxes in Connecticut fund local schools, town services, infrastructure, and public safety. That's why taxes differ so much, town by town. Two homes 5 minutes apart can have very different tax bills. One of the biggest mistakes I see in people choosing a town based only on lower taxes without thinking about schools, resale value, or a long-term satisfaction. Utilities and insurance are another important part of the cost of living that people don't always think about until they move. In Connecticut, heating costs matter, especially in older homes. Whether it's oil, gas, or electric, winter utility bills can be higher than what people are used to in warmer states. Homeowners insurance is also typically higher than the national average, especially for older homes or properties near the shoreline. Groceries, gas, and everyday expenses are generally above the national average, but not dramatically so. Connecticut's sales tax is just over 6% and applies to most goods and services. Individually, none of these costs are shocking, but together they add up, and they're important to plan for. This is the part that often gets missed when people talk about Connecticut online. Yes, Connecticut has higher living costs, but it also supports higher household incomes, strong employment opportunities, and some of the best school systems in the country. For many families, the trade-off is worth it. Safer neighborhoods, better schools, shorter commutes compared to big cities, and a more balanced lifestyle overall. The people who struggle the most are usually the ones who move here without fully understanding the numbers ahead of time. The most common mistakes I see people make when moving to Connecticut are not budgeting properly for property taxes, underestimating utility costs, especially in older homes, choosing a town without understanding long-term resale value, and assuming that every part of Connecticut costs the same, which it absolutely does not. So if you're thinking about living in Connecticut in 2026, the biggest takeaway is this: it's not about finding the cheapest place. It's about understanding the real costs and choosing the town and lifestyle that actually fit you. When you understand housing prices, property taxes, and everyday expenses up front, you can make smart decisions and avoid surprises later. If you're relocating, buying, or even just exploring Connecticut, having the right information early makes the entire process easier and less stressful. And if you ever have questions about specific towns, neighborhoods, or what living in Central Connecticut is really like, I'm always happy to be a resource. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.